I rise to support H.R. 7946, the Veteran Service Recognition Act of 2022, and to oppose the underlying amendment. The Trump administration made it harder to receive a certificate of honorable service, did not enforce protections for immigrant veterans, and implemented new background check requirements for non-citizens to report to basic training. This legislation is to restore honor, integrity, and justice to our immigration services for those who have faithfully served our country. These policies make naturalization significantly more difficult for non-citizens who serve in the military, subverting Congress' efforts to prioritize and protect active duty and veteran immigrants. The effects of the Trump administration policies were so drastic that naturalization of military personnel dropped from 8,770 in 2016 to just 4,570 in 2020. This is duly an affront to immigrants and a disgrace to the sacrifice of military members. This bill restores dignity to non-citizen military members by making it easier to naturalize while in the military. I'm reminded of the work we did during the Iraq War, when we helped bring families together by allowing citizen military persons to be able to move expeditiously their non-citizen family members. Remember that happening posthumously when these soldiers died in battle, because we were humane and concerned about the families and the fact that these active duty did serve and were willing to serve and die for this country. This legislation directs the Department of Homeland Security and Department of Defense to implement a program that streamlines the naturalization process for non-citizen service members during basic training or as early as otherwise possible, who deserve the respect of their country more than those who have dutifully served in the military, whether or not they're immigrant. Who else would deserve that respect? The nativism of the past administration went as far as to not just attack service members themselves, but also their families, by going to great lengths to rescind the eligibility of citizenship for military families, which we had typically done for a long time. In 2019, U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services changed the definition of the term residence, making it so that U.S. military and other government employees stationed abroad would no longer be considered as residing in the United States, thus ineligible for U.S. citizenship. How crass and inhumane. This unfairly forced children of U.S. military members to go through a laborious naturalization process without preferential treatment due to their parents' sacrifice for their country. This bill directs the Department of Homeland Security to establish a Military Family Immigration Advisory Committee, and this committee will review the cases of non-citizen veterans and active service members through removal proceedings, and will provide recommendations on whether prosecutorial discretion is warranted or whether the removal proceedings should continue. And this will equip the Director of Homeland Security to grant special consideration to immigrants facing deportation who have served their country in the military, barring their participation in violent felony, to stop their removal. In addition, this bill allows immediate relatives of service members or veterans with an approved immigrant petition to be able to adjust their status and obtain a green card. The underlying amendment is punitive. First of all, anyone who's done a heinous crime should be assigned to their penalty. And in most instances, those individuals will be incarcerated in our prison system. At the same time, once they have paid their time, that is the way our justice system works. To suggest that those incarcerated will be plucked out of the prison, then away from their families and deported is a double penalty. They're already incarcerated, paying their penalty. They already have had victim statements when they were prosecuted and convicted. So let me give you an example. It is not a veteran, but how shameful the Department of Homeland Security, under this fearful threat from the past administration, sent a letter to one of my firefighters, a young man who loved his work, was married to a citizen, and was doing great as a firefighter in Houston. I hope I can find that young man. His wife had a panic attack, and rather than wait to be helped out of this horrible situation of getting a letter in the mail that you're about to be deported, he just simply resigned and went down to the location where his family was, missing out on his service to us and our receiving his service. We cannot run our immigration system out of fear and pain. We must run it out of respect for veterans, first responders, and others. And with that, I ask opposition to the amendment and support for the legislation. I yield back.